orthogonal. Okay. Now I take an example. Take an example. Show that the vectors defined in the above example are orthogonal. Okay, when I say above example, you know what is that? We have the UI, this component, contravariant component, 3 by 5 and 4 by 5x1. And Vi is equal to minus 4 by 5, then 3 by 5x1. Okay, and the space time is ds square is the polar coordinate space time. So it is dx1 square plus x1 square into dx2 square. This is the space time. Okay. Now I want to use this definition for the orthogonality. Okay, I take the inner product. So UV is equal to GIJ UIBJ. So this is equal to G11 U1 V1 plus G22 U2 V2. G12 U1 V2 etc. will come here, but they are all 0. I have only G11 and G22. So this is equal to, what is G11? Iska coefficient. So that is 1 into V1. V1 is the first component, minus 4 by 3. Sorry, U1 V1. So what is U1? U1 means 3 by 5. V1 means minus 4 by 5. Plus G22. What is G22? X1 square. Into U2. U2 is 4 divided by 5x1 into V2 means 3 divided by 5x1. Okay, so this x1 and x1 cancel with this x1 square. So this is nothing but minus 12 divided by 25 plus 12 divided by 25, which is equal to 0. Hence, U and V are orthogonal. Okay, they are orthogonal. So you can, now how to, and what you remember is which space you are talking about. That is important. So the metric coefficients are important here. Now the another thing is, how do you measure the angle between vectors? So next is angle between vectors. The Euclidean space, it's not a curved space. Then how do you, suppose I have a vector A bar and I have another vector B bar. How do you define the angle between these two vectors? The angle between two vectors, cos theta is equal to A bar dot B bar divided by modulus of A bar and modulus of B bar. Okay, the same thing you are doing it. Modulus का ये tensor में क्या definition है and A dot B का inner product you replace it and you modify the definition. That's all. So write the angle theta between two vectors. Between two vectors u and v. Theta between two vectors u and v is defined as cos theta is equal to uv. इसका inner product ले, dot product की जगह inner product, modulus के जगह norm लेते, first vector का norm, second vector का. I think you understood this. This is the generalization. But now you use the definition. What is uv? uv, you know, it is nothing but gij into uivj. How do you define the norm of this? Norm of this is gij uiuj. Norm of
V का
this
norm आएगा. V का norm आएगा.
No, I did not understand. What you are saying?
वाला फॉर्मूला में डिवाइडेड बाय में V का norm आएगा.
Okay. V का norm आएगा. Right. This is V. Good. V. So here this will be gij vivj. Okay. So I take 0 less than or equal to theta less than or equal to phi. So this is the angle between two vectors. Okay, so you can see that in the above example, if the vectors are orthogonal, then you know the angle between them will be 90 degree. Okay, so I maybe nearly right, not. From the above example, we see that if the vectors are orthogonal, gij ui vj equal to 0, and hence cos theta equal to 0. Norm of the vector will not become 0, but the cos theta is equal to 0, which implies theta is equal to pi by 2. So the same meaning for that. Okay. Now let me take in they show that the contravariant vectors u is equal to 0, 1, 2bx square, and v is equal to 0 minus 2bx square x1 square are orthogonal under the Euclidean metric for cylindrical coordinates. Okay, so the three-dimensional thing. So now So that's why your last yesterday I had given you an example to do homework. You get the metric of the cylindrical coordinates. Have you completed that or not? What's the metric?
Yes.
So the metric for the cylindrical coordinates is ds square is equal to dx1 square plus x1 square into dx2 square plus dx3 square. R theta and z. So this is x1, and this is x2, and this is x3. So I can put it in this form. So that g11 is equal to 1, g22 is equal to x1 square, and g33 is equal to 1, and gij equal to 0 for all I not equal to j. This is the thing. Now if you take inner product uv, gij, ui, vj, so this is g11, u1, v1, g22, u2, v2 plus g33, u3, v3. So g11 is 1, u1 0, v1 that's also 0, g22 x1 square, u2 means 1, v2 means minus 2bx2, g33 is 1, u3 is 2bx2, this is x1 square. इसको सिंप्लीफाई करो. So first one is 0 minus 2b x1 square x2 plus 2b x1 square x2. So you can see that this will be equal to 0. Hence u and v are orthogonal. Okay, so this is the angle between them, and when you call it as, so it is a little different from that of the usual angle between two vectors you define in the Euclidean space. So the space is curved, things will change. Okay, and now we shall just pass on to another concept, what is called the parallel transport.
Sir? Sir, would in this case the u and v vectors were orthogonal in cylindrical coordinate systems? Does that also mean that they would be also orthogonal when we use the Cartesian coordinate system?
There should be. Then आपको क्या करने का, पूरा coordinate उसमें change करने का. You can try with this example. Okay, so these are the metric which is given in the cylindrical coordinate system, and you can change the vectors in Cartesian coordinates. You know how to change that?
Yes, sir.
So you change it and then you do the same example.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so then conclude it. That's the way you can study, self-study. You can make it self-study. Okay. So now parallel transport. What do you mean by a parallel transport? See, for example, suppose I have a straight line. Okay. Suppose I have a straight line. Then suppose I have a vector here. A vector. a perpendicular vector. We can imagine that. Okay. Then I am holding this vector and I am traveling along this straight line. And when I reach here, this vector will be like this. It is perpendicular. And when I am reaching here, the vector will be like this. And when I reach here, the vector will be here. Okay. And now if you look to the first vector and the last vector, what you can say? They are parallel. You can say that it is parallel. Do you follow me the concept? I am transporting the vector. What is the property of this vector? This vector is perpendicular to this line here. Same way I am moving it. Always it should be perpendicular to the line. So that means they are parallel. So if I take this vector and this vector, they are parallel. Okay, so which means that suppose V is my vector and I take the derivative with respect to some S. S means the arc length. The length is changing. And when I reach the final stage, the vector remains the same. It is not a different vector. It is parallel in magnitude. It is equal in magnitude and direction. So what will happen? This vector, when I move parallelly, this vector has the property that dv by ds will be 0. What do you mean by dv by ds is 0? dv by ds is 0 means that the vector has not changed. Okay. So for a flat space I mean there is no curvature in that. This will be true. Okay. So you can parallelly transport it to the final position. Now suppose you imagine a situation in which it is not a straight line. Okay, it is not a straight line. For example, suppose I am having a circular kind of thing. Okay, a circle. Okay, so I am doing the same thing here. Okay, suppose I have a vector here. Oh, I'm sorry. I have a vector here. Okay, so vector perpendicular. The same way I'm taking vector perpendicular, this vector. Okay, now I am moving from this point A to another point B. I'm parallelly, see, I keep the property that when I move from this position, when I reach here, it also should be perpendicular to the surface. So when I reach here, it should be perpendicular to the surface. When I reach here, it should be perpendicular. And when I reach here, it should be perpendicular. And when I reach here, it should be when I reach here, it should be perpendicular. So if you look, locally they are parallel. Okay, so आप ये अर्थ consider करो. If I move from this one position to another position, I feel that I am moving it parallelly because the surface of the earth is flat locally. So I feel that I am transporting parallelly. But when you reach it here at this position B, it has actually become perpendicular to it. Even though locally I feel that I am moving parallelly, in effect what happened from you look to the initial position and final position, they are perpendicular. Actually, what is parallel means? Parallel means this vector should be actually, when it reaches here, it should be like this. Iska parallel means it should be like this. Okay, so this vector and this vector are parallel. Parallel position is actually, parallel transport means it should actually come like this. But there is a difference of this much. Okay, so now the question is, in a straight line or in a flat space, you can take a vector. The vector need not be perpendicular. Suppose I take this vector like this, something like, let me consider another, sorry, let me consider another vector, something like this. One vector, I'm considering parallel. So here, so this is parallel to this. Okay, parallel. This I am moving here, so it is parallel. So you can see that all these vectors are parallel. I started from this position, A, and when I reached this position, B, these two vectors are still parallel. But now you do the same thing here. Suppose this is my vector parallel. Here it is parallel. When I reach here, this vector will be like this. And when I reach here, the vector will be looking downward. So the parallel transport in a flat space and in a curved space, they are different. Now, if it is in a flat space, you need not do anything. You merely keep it and you just move along the curve. You are moving along this curve. Mathematically, it means you have to make it in the form of equations. Okay, that's what I'm saying. dv by ds, rate of change of the vector with respect to s. S means the arc length. So that should be 0. So in a curved space, how can you make this parallel transport? What should be the condition to be satisfied? This is what I am looking in the parallel transport. So, and that will be very much useful when you make differentiation, etc. Okay, for differentiation, you have to consider a vector and what will happen to this vector if you move little further, and then you take the difference and you divide it with you know the derivative definition. F of x plus delta x minus f of x divided by delta x. So that x, the change is there. Then what will happen to the vector? So that one has to. So when you do differentiation, etc., you have to think like this. Okay. So I may just motivate you by this. So this is for an explanation kind of thing, and I write from below.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, you considered dv by ds is equal to 0, right? And then you also took the normal. But sir, normal vectors are dependent on the length of the circle. Only then we would get it, like we should get non-zero.
Normal vector and length में कुछ ये नहीं है. Normal vector is always the gradient at that point. It is at a point. Length में कैसे different हुआ?
नहीं सर, क्योंकि नॉर्मल वेक्टर्स लेंथ पे डिपेंडेंट होंगे सर, तो ही हमको एक नॉन जीरो वैल्यू मिलेगी ना सर. मतलब उसका डेरिवेटिव लेंगे लेंथ से, तो हमको एक नॉन जीरो वैल्यू मिलेगी, तो ही वो नॉर्मल होगा.
नहीं, you did not understand what I mean. What I say is that suppose you have a vector v, okay. Now what do you mean by dv by ds? dv by ds matlab the rate of change of v with respect to s. That means when s changes, what is the change in the v? So that is the meaning of that. If they are parallel, what I say, if the vectors are parallel, then what will happen? That change will not be there. The rate of change of v will not be there. So that is called parallel transport. If the vectors are moving parallelly, one vector I am taking, and when I reach here, after a distance s, if I'm having the same vector, so that means there is no change in the vector. No change in the vector, rate of change is 0 means dv by dsc. That sense I have taken.
Okay, sir.
That's the sense by which I have taken. Okay. Now, let I'm taking a vector. Let Vp be a vector at the point P. Be a vector at the point P. At the point P. One wants to carry this vector. to another point. Another point Q. Okay, so this is the situation. So I have some point P. Okay, and I want to take this vector which is at P. So this is the point P, and this is the point Q. Let me put it Q. Okay, so here I'm taking this vector perpendicular parallel concept of for the convenience I told you that, that's all. So suppose you take the vector here, this vector. Okay, for example, for understanding this, I'm saying that locally this is perpendicular, or it is making 45° at locally. That way you can. So when it reaches here, it will be perpendicular, something like this. Okay, and when it reaches here, it will be here. And when it reaches here, it will look like this at Q. Okay, so I'm moving. So what is my aim? My aim is to move this parallelly and keep it here. Okay, when I take parallelly this, now you can see that the directions are changing. How can I keep parallelly? So that is my aim. Point Q, preserving the direction of the original, preserving the direction of the original. Vector VP throughout in each infinitesimal step. Okay, this is the process of parallel transport. This is the process of parallel transport. So consider.
Excuse me. Can you please add my friend from the lobby? He got disconnected because of issue.
Added. Okay. Consider an n-dimensional Riemannian space. An n-dimensional Riemannian space. What do you mean by Riemannian space? जल्दी बोलो.
Curvilinear space, sir.
Yes, space in which the distance between that should not be the way it should be told. Euclidean space क्या है?
Sir, distance of metric
Euclidean space means the distance in that space, the distance between two neighboring points will be ds square is equal to dx1 square plus dx2 square plus etc. dxn square. Riemannian space क्या होगा? ds square is equal to gij dxi dxj. This gij is, these coefficients are functions of the coordinates. Then we call it as a Riemannian space. The metric in Riemannian space will be like this. Metric in Euclidean space will be like this. Remember that Euclidean space is a special case of Riemannian space. So I am considering the general space. Okay, Riemannian space with the coordinates. with coordinates xi. Coordinates I denote x1, x2, etc., xn. Okay, and the metric tensor Gij. This Gij which I am describing here. Okay, we want to transport a vector specified at P, at the point P. Specified at the point means here I am saying that this is perpendicular, or this is making an angle 45 degree, or this is tangent to the surface. That's the meaning. That's also you specify that this is the vector. Okay, at P to another point Q, to another point Q along the curve C. Okay, so I shall denote this curve by C. Okay, so this point is Q and this point is P, and the name of the curve is C. This is what. Okay.
Sir, in this diagram, we haven't transported parallelly, right?
No, not. I just to show you. Transported parallelly. Yeah, you are right. You are right. Transported parallelly means that I haven't shown. Yes. I did not transport parallelly. I just to show you that if it is perpendicular, then here the perpendicularity will be like this. Here it will be like this. Here it will be. That is what I was showing. So if I am moving parallelly, then what should be this? Here it should be parallel. Aisa jana chahiye, hai na? Aisa jana chahiye. It will go like this, parallel to this one. Okay. So I did not show this parallel, this one. Okay. But I want to move it parallelly, the curve C. Expressing the coordinates. Yeah, as parametric in the form xi parameter is lambda. So I'm saying that each coordinate is a function of lambda. Okay, so I think you get an idea. Suppose I have x and y, I can consider them as a parameter. For example, x of theta and y of theta. So x is equal to r cos theta, y is equal to r sin theta. Circle के लिए क्या होता है? X equal to a cos theta, y is equal to. So it's a parameter. So theta changes, x and y changes that way. And the coordinate basis. Vectors. Coordinate basis vectors. EI. Like IJK. Then we write. How you express the vector? I shall express the vector V at the point P, which is a function of lambda. Okay, at P, lambda will have a particular value. And when you increase the value of lambda, it will move along the curve. So V is equal to, I can write the components Vj which will be function of lambda, and Ej, that also will be function of lambda. Okay, function of locally, so the component, each component will change. At each point it will change. Okay. So now I take the derivative, differentiating with respect to lambda. Differentiating with respect to lambda. With respect to lambda. We get dv by d lambda. V is a function of lambda. So what will be that? This first derivative of Vj with respect to lambda, then Ej plus Vj and dEj d lambda. Because Ej now will not be, see, for example, suppose you take x-axis, y-axis, I and j are constant. But whenever you take a cylindric, polar coordinate system, that is different. Okay, so it will be along the x, r and theta are the coordinates, and r theta. So r ke jaga unit vector aap le lo. When theta changes, what happens? This unit vector will change. Okay, but in Cartesian coordinate system, I and j are going to be the same, and that is not going to change. Other coordinate systems, so that depends on this. So they continuously change. So that is why I am taking derivative with respect to that. Okay. Now this is equal to dVj by d lambda into Ej plus Vj. This I write that dEj by dxk, then dxk by d lambda. Okay, I make a chain kind of thing. Ej through xk I am going to lambda. So let me call this as 1 and let me call this as 2. Now the term del Ej by del xk or dEj by dxk, del xk. You know, partial derivatives are similar to that of the ordinary derivative. Only thing is that you keep others constant. Dxk. So that is, this is a vector quantity, representing the rate of change of the basis vector, with respect to xk. Let us denote. This by writing del Ej divided by del xk is equal to gamma ijk ei. Okay, so now I tell you the meaning of this. What's the notation means? Where at any point, that means you are starting from P and you are going to Q. So in between there are so many points. So at any point, gamma ijk represents the component component in the direction of basis vector EI of the rate of change of EJ, rate of change of EJ with respect to xk. With respect to xk. xk, yeah, ऊपर है xk. With respect to xk. Now, the thing is that, did you understand the meaning of that? See, this, if you look to this one, this is a vector derivative. This is a vector derivative. And इसमें vector किधर है? Vector is EJ. This is the component. Component derivative is not a vector. This is a some scalar multiplied by. This is a component. This is not a vector. This is the coordinates. So this is also not a vector. This is a vector. Okay, so this is a vector. Now that vector I am writing in this form. That vector I am writing in this form. So now you look. This is the left side is the rate of change of the vector with respect to xk, and I am writing in this form. Now what meaning I am giving? If this is a vector in this form, because this is a vector, it will have components in the EI, the basis direction. E1 direction there is a component, E2 direction there is a component, En direction there is a component. How I represent that? I will represent gamma 1 jk E1 plus etc. gamma n jk En. So what is this? E1 direction ma'am. Okay, it's component in the direction of the vector E1. This is the component in the direction of the vector E1. This is the component in the direction of the vector En. Okay, so what about this component? What you can say about this component? dEj by dxk. Here jk will represent, you differentiate Ej with respect to xk, you differentiate Ej vector with respect to xk, then you will get another vector. O vector ka E1 direction mein kya component? So that is given by this. En direction mein what component? It is given by this, etc. Did you understand this, the description? Yes or no?
No, sir. No, sir.
See, what I am saying is that del Ej by del xk का meaning क्या है? Word में बोलो, mathematically नहीं, word में बोलो. What's the meaning of it? Rate of change of.
Sir, can you please? Sir, can you please take it from starting, sir? I'm not understanding why you have taken gamma ijk.
Gamma ijk. Okay. So you have this equation 2. Did you understand equation 2? It's only a derivative.
Yes, sir.
So now what I do is that out of this, for example, you take this term. I have three terms, part in this term there are three parts. Okay, इसमें कौन सा vector कौन सा है?
Ej.
dEj by dxk. This is the vector. This is a scalar. This is a scalar. Okay, so this is a vector quantity. So that is what is written here. This is a vector quantity. Okay, if it is a vector quantity, it will have the components in all the basis vectors, in the direction of basis vectors. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
That you did not,
Yes,
that
sir.
you did not understand. See, for example, suppose I have a vector in 3 dimension in our usual space, a vector v bar. If vector ka components in the x direction, component in the y direction, component in the z direction, है ना? See, आप usually vector लिखते हैं ना, r bar is equal to xi plus yj plus zk. So these are all unit vectors. And what is this x? It is a component in the I direction. It is the component in the j direction. It is a component in the k direction. So in the same way, this is a vector. This is a vector. dej by dxk is a vector. If it is a vector, it will have components in the E1 direction, E2 direction, etc. En direction. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So E1 direction का component कौन सा है? E1 direction का gamma 1 jk. Gamma E1, this is E1. E1 इधर भी 1 आएगा. So gamma 1 jk is the component of this in the E1 direction. Gamma 2 jk is the component of this left hand side, this vector in the direction of E2, etc. Gamma n jk is the component of this vector in the direction of En. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So these upper suffixes, they represent which kind of component? And ये jk का मतलब क्या है? jk का component, jk का मतलब है, it is this jk will tell you that it is the derivative of ej with respect to xk. This jk will tell you that it is nothing but the derivative of ej with respect to xk. That's all. Okay, so this way. Now is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Others, what about others? No voice from boys?
We had the components Vj dxk by d lambda. So what about those?
Which one? Other.
In the equation 2, there we had the components, right? Vj dxk by d lambda.
Let it be there. I'm not bothering about that. I'm talking about this only.
So which one of these components?
I don't want to write it in the other way, but because this is something which is important. You will understand it when I come back. Okay, when I proceed, you will understand. Okay. So now I have got this is 3, and this is the meaning of the notation. So remember that. Okay. Now I write that this is. I explain this is the meaning of that particular notation. So now, how many components will be there for this? Can you tell me? How many components will be there? I tell you that this. You don't think that it is a tensor. You merely take it as a notation, and later one can show that this is not a tensor at all. But it should be taken as gamma I j k means I will take value from 1 to n, j will take from value 1 to n, and k will take value from 1 to n. Then how many total components will be there for this gamma I j k in n dimension?
N raised to cube.
N cube, right? So there will be n cube quantities will be there. Okay, so there will be n cube such quantities. Okay, the n cube quantities. N cube quantities gamma I j k are called connection coefficients. Now substituting 3 in 2. We get dv lambda divided by d lambda is equal to dvj by d lambda ej. इसे इधर कुछ करने का नहीं है, ऐसा नोटेशन का जरूरत नहीं है, because ej, you know, it is a vector. This is a scalar, it's a number only. ej means e1, e2, e3, etc. So that basis vector itself. So this plus I substitute for the other one. So what I will get? I will get gamma ijk, then ei, then I have vj, then dxk by d lambda. Dxk by d lambda. Okay, so if I substitute, I will get this. Now I write it in a little more convenient form. So I have this. This is equal to dvi by d lambda ei. You can put it like this because j is a dummy. Either be j hai, either be j hai. So I can replace it by I plus gamma I jk ei vj dxk by d lambda. Okay, you can see that there is something common. Ei is common. So dvi by d lambda plus gamma I jk vj dxk by d lambda. Common thing is ei. Okay, so I will get like this. So the left side, you can say something. Okay, you look, left side it is a derivative of a vector, and right side you got a vector. Now the derivative is with respect to lambda. Differentiation is with respect to lambda. So that means while you move along this curve, lambda, so initially suppose I take lambda equal to 0, then when I reach here lambda may be 1, here lambda may be 2. If you go backward, lambda may be -1, etc. So when lambda changes, I will move along this. Okay, then this is the vector v. V at lambda equal to 0 is this vector. V at lambda equal to 1 should be a vector, something like this. Now I want to parallelly transport this vector from one point to another point. Then what should be the condition on this? The vector should keep parallelism. It should not change. So what do you expect? If it is I'm moving from one position to another position parallelly, then the derivative of v lambda with respect to lambda should be
0.
Should be 0. There is no change in the vector, magnitude or direction. That's the meaning. So when I move v lambda, okay, so I'm taking different values of lambda, then my vector should be, there should not be any change in direction or length. So that means that this dv by d lambda should be 0. So this is what I say. So if the vector under discussion, under discussion is parallel throughout, throughout its motion along the curve C, then dv divided by d lambda should be equal to 0. Okay, so this is the condition for parallel transport. So that means, what is that? ei cannot be 0. This cannot be 0. So the condition is that this coefficient should be 0. Okay, so this implies that dvi by d lambda plus gamma ijk ijk Vj dxk by d lambda should be 0. Okay, or this should be 0. So thus for a parallel transport, each component, this is based on components, Vi, you can see it is not based on vectors. Each component Vi must satisfy the condition, dVi by d lambda should be equal to minus gamma ijk Vj dxk by d lambda. Call this by the next number. What is 3? Maybe it is 4. Okay. So that is why it is connecting the coefficients, the vector components, the derivative with respect to the vector component. It is connecting this. So that's why the connection coefficients. So this is the condition for parallel transport. Okay. So two vectors, when you transport from one point to another point, okay, there is no change in the components. That means that when you calculate these two quantities, the sum you take, you should get 0. Okay, so if you are not getting 0, what it indicates, you are not in a flat space. You are in a, so from the intrinsic property itself, you can say that you are moving from not in a flat space, in a curved space. Suppose I go from keep this vector perpendicular to my local coordinate system, I go to America. So actually what will happen when I calculate this kind of thing, it will not be 0. Okay, so this is a kind of measure of the curvature, how much it is curved. So gamma ij is, that will give you a kind of measure of the curvature also. So that is there. Okay, I will explain further to this and its usefulness in the coming classes. Okay, so any question?
Yes, sir. What was the significance of this gamma term? Because we could have just said that when we transport it, the derivative should be 0.
Now usefulness will come, and now you will study next the derivative, what is called the covariant derivative. In the derivative in Riemannian space, then this gamma symbols will come there. So its usually is there, it automatically comes there. And there are other higher kind of Riemannian tensor, then curvature tensor, etc., which we will not study, but there this gamma ijk's are all those curvatures, all these kind of things should come in terms of gamma ijk. So gamma ijk, this is called the Christoffel. I will just next class I will tell. This is called the Christoffel symbol. Riemann and Christoffel, there is another mathematician. So they combinedly worked on it. So later you will study Riemann curvature tensor, etc., all these kind of things. Okay, so what I now want to say to you only this, gamma ijk's play a very significant role in the derivatives that are coming in the curved space. Okay.
And sir, geometrically, what does it represent?
Which one?
This gamma ijk.
That is, I told you, these are nothing but the components. These are vector and vector components. Geometrically, it is the vector components. That's all.
Oh, so it's just a scalar?
In a curved space. That's all.
And sir, can you explain again why they were called connection coefficients?
So either आप इधर देखो, इधर Vi is there, है ना? Derivative of Vi is connected with the Vi itself. And how the components and its derivatives are connected. They are connected through this gamma ij. Yeah?
Okay, sir, got it.
Sir,
Okay. बोलिए.
sir, why is this the basis vectors? Why are they like dependent on the coordinates?
It will depend on this one. See, for example, suppose you consider the polar coordinate system. Polar coordinate system. Okay, so here आप I a direction में ले लो. I is direction. Okay, so this is for theta. When theta changes, this point will go to some other point. Am I right? So आपका I का डायरेक्शन किधर होगा? I का डायरेक्शन अलग हो जाएगी. इधर I का डायरेक्शन ये था. Now I का डायरेक्शन is changed. Okay, so in this will be true. See, if you take x-axis and y-axis, they are orthogonal coordinate system. I will be in this direction, J will be in this direction. This will not change. But if you take a polar coordinate system, this is continuously changing. I and J are continuously changing.
Okay, sir.
They change. Okay, so that's why you need to take that derivative of EJ.
Sir, so in this equation number 2, they should be partial derivatives, right?
Partial derivative. Yeah. So actually, that's why I have given there the Vi is a function of lambda only. So total will work. So this is also, this component also will be a function of lambda only. Okay. Each I will just show you. This one. Either either. So these are functions of lambda only. So it's a total will work here. There is no problem with this. But here EJ is okay. So EJ will depend on xk. So this you can put it as a partial derivative. So that's why from this total derivative, I actually should write partial here also. No problem. But partial derivative and total derivatives are in some sense they are same, because when I take partial derivative, the other things I am keeping constant. So it is similar to that of a total derivative. That's it. So it is actually the partial derivative. You are right.
So it should be a whole sum, right? Each and every component. Okay, sir.
Okay, so we will
sir, one more question.
One more.
Sir, in this expansion of the Christoffel symbol,
yeah,
this was gamma 1 JKE1, right? Then it was gamma n JKEN. In this term, like for example, let's take the gamma 1 JK term. So does the gamma 1 JK also expand? Is it also a summation?
And इसमें इसमें क्या होता है, आपका जो एक्सप्रेशन है ना EJ by dxk, jk का वो एक्सपेंशन है, because suppose you take your j is equal to 1 and k is equal to 2, so that means derivative of E1 with respect to x2, then this will come to be, what is that? This will become 1 and this will be 2. उसमें expansion नहीं है और replacement है.
Okay, sir. Got it.
Sum, you cannot write it as a sum. Why you cannot write it as a sum? Because they are not repeating. So that is why. Einstein convention, sum you can write only when it is repeating. Here sum will come, but here sum will not. If it is 1 and 2 here, it will become 1, 2. If it is 2 and 3 here, it will be 2, 3. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we will meet next class.